Today we are talking about managing stress during global trauma. Um, and the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because whether you are trying to take care of yourself or take care of others, stress can impede your progress. And so this is imperative and important for anyone, no matter where you are in life or what stage of life you are in. Um, Stress is different for everyone. We all have different stressors, and we are managing multiple stressors at the same time, right? It could be things that have been ongoing stresses for you, like chronic illness. It could be it could be body image things. It could be disconnection from your body. It could be financial stress. There is identity stress, right? From living in a marginalized body or having a marginalized identity. And then we have all the things that are happening in the world and in the globe around us that also impact us. So everyone who's watching right now, you, me, we're all managing multiple things that could be different forms of stress in our life at the same time. And so I feel like this is a topic that is important and imperative now, but it's also evergreen, right? Because as long as we are living in these bodies and navigating this world, we're going to be managing some sort of stress. So if you're just tuning in, I want to introduce myself. I'm Ivy, the body relationship coach. I am a certified holistic wellness coach. And I'm also a body image healer. So I help people who feel constant and consistent frustration and overwhelm or disconnection with their bodies. I help them make peace with their bodies through the use of holistic wellness tools, energy management, spiritual practices, creativity, self-expression. There's so many beautiful tools that we use to heal those frustrations and to alleviate those frustrations. So the foundational principles here are education, healing, and liberation. So I want to share perspective, tools, insight with you that will help give you some education about maybe things that you didn't know before. Maybe even just help you have an aha moment about something that you hadn't even thought about, right? Or a different perspective. And then as far as healing, I always want to provide you with either the space and the container to heal. So that could be right during this live or while you're watching this replay. In this container, you might receive some form of healing, whether that is helping to lift your spirits or even relieve some stress or bring some happiness and joy into your life, right? And then the third thing is that liberation. So I want to help you have the tools to experience healing and then also to move towards liberation. And liberation is an ongoing, I believe, journey and not a destination, okay? So that's the foundation that I'm talking to you from today. Other key principles that are really important that we understand is body autonomy. I am all for body autonomy above everything, right? So there are all sorts of body theories, perspectives, beliefs, and things like that out there. Some of them I have embraced, some of them I have released, but body autonomy is above everything for me, right? So meaning that I believe that it's our divine right to govern our bodies, to make decisions for our bodies. That is our individual right, no matter what our identity is, what our body size is, our culture, any of those things. I believe in body autonomy for everyone. Also believe in body wisdom, right? I believe that the body is ultimately divine. The body has wisdom to share with us. We are not controlling the body all the time. We are connecting with the body. The body is teaching us. this is going to be an important part of talking about stress management for today. The body is divine, you all. It is divine. And sometimes we forget it, and I understand, because we go through all sorts of experiences and challenges and frustrations. And then we have all these messages outside of us that are constantly making us feel like our body is not divine. When I talk about wellness, right, I am talking about taking care of your well-being based on the other principles that I just mentioned. So based on body autonomy, based on the divinity of your body, based on finding body wisdom, right, and connecting with your body. So when I talk about wellness, that is what I mean. I'm not talking about dieting. I'm not talking about the traditional concept of health and healthism and things like that. When I'm talking about wellness, I'm talking about you and me taking care of our needs based on the resources that we have, based on the capacity that we have in the moment to do the best that we can do. If you're just joining, we are talking about managing stress during global trauma, and I am talking about some tools. I'm getting ready to dig into some tools and get to some perspective as to why this is important, as to how stress impacts us individually and collectively. So if you know, I mentioned earlier, liberation, right, is one of the foundational principles and ultimate goal. Thing is, when we're talking about stress, like, stress is the antithesis of that, right? It's the antithesis of liberation. It's the antithesis of healing. It's the antithesis of peace, right? And we are talking about this on an individual and a collective perspective. So a lot of times sometimes we put things out of order, right? We forget to take care of ourselves, and we're looking to go out into the world, fix the global trauma, fix others, help others, and we're neglecting ourselves, right? We're neglecting our self-care, we're neglecting our rest, and all of those things. So this conversation is to remind you. I'm here as your reminder. Think of me as, like, you know, when you set your alarm or you put a reminder on your phone, think of me as your reminder today that whatever you're doing, whether you are taking care of a loved one, whether you're a caretaker, whether you are doing community action, whether you are out here raging against the machines, marching in the streets, whether you are serving the people on the ground, whether you are calling your representatives, writing letters, whatever you are doing, this is your reminder that you need to remember to take care of you, right? And when we get into a stage of stress, stress can impede our ability to do that. A lot of you all hear me talk about body peace, or maybe you've been in my spaces before, you followed my things, and you hear me talk about body peace. Well, we talk about body peace, but body peace is so much more than just our body size and feeling okay with the numbers in our our jeans or our shirts or whatever. Body peace is about body autonomy. It involves the social political impacts on our bodies. We are witnessing right now, and we have been witnessing for years, the ways in which the social climate, the political climate, the global climate impacts our bodies, impacts the bodies of others, right? And that is the thing, that is the duality, that is the complexity that we can get very, it's designed this way, right? To keep us sort of fighting diet culture, fighting how we look in the mirror and things like that. And there are other things that are going on simultaneously, right? At the beginning of this broadcast, I talked about that we can be managing multiple stresses at the same time. So Don't feel like whatever stress you have, if you got out the car this morning or were getting on the bus or got out of bed or whatever, and you stubbed your toe and that really, really hurts you and that threw off your day and that puts you in a bad mood, that can be a form of stress. If you're in a relationship, whether it be with a friend, a family member, whether it be in a romantic relationship, something at your job, and you are experiencing stress in that relationship, then that can be a form of stress. If you live in a marginalized body, if you have a marginalized identity, and every single time you go out the door, you have to deal with the oppression of having a marginalized identity, that is also a form of stress, right? If you have a chronic illness and every day you have to manage discomfort and pain and figuring out how you're going to afford medication or treatment or the things that you need to take care of your body, those are forms of stress. And you can be experiencing all of those things at the same time. If you're looking in your timeline and you're seeing what's happening in our country, if you're seeing what's happening with our finances, if you're seeing what's happening with our leadership, if you're seeing what's happening with the violence that's happened in regards to in our schools, in our streets and things like that, and that is plaguing your emotions, that is also a form of stress. If you're looking at what's happening in other countries and other continents and what is happening there and how people are experiencing pain and people are experiencing death and people are experiencing not having what they need to take care of themselves, that can also be a form of stress. So if you are processing all of these things, all of those different things at the same time, those are multiple forms of stress. I just want you to breathe for a moment and think about the ways that you as a being could be managing multiple forms of stress at the same time. And I just want you to give yourself some grace. I want you to give yourself some love. I want you to give yourself a little bit of just a moment to give yourself some mercy, some understanding, some compassion. And to understand that sometimes you might be feeling like you're not doing enough or you are not enough, but you could be managing multiple forms of stress at the same time. And if you are also trying to rage against the machine, activate change in the world also at the same time, then that is a lot pulling on your systems, right? So let's talk about this. When I'm talking about managing stress, when I'm talking about prioritizing self-care, prioritizing wellness, prioritizing calm, this is not about spiritual bypassing, okay? Hear me on this. This is not about bypassing. This is about integrating, okay? And understanding that as a being, you and I, we are mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. All of those systems, our mental well-being, our emotional well-being, our physical well-being, our spiritual well-being, they're all needs. They're all being activated in different ways at different times. So if you're only focused in one direction, which is maybe pouring out, giving, doing, but you're not also thinking about nourishing and caring, then things are going to be off balance for you. There's going to be a sense of disharmony for you. And why does this matter? Let me tell you. Because that sense of imbalance, that sense of exhaustion, that sense of disharmony is what can lead to burnout, is what can lead to overwhelm. And when you're burnt out and you're overwhelmed, you cannot consistently activate change. And it's okay to, we take breaks and things like that. But part of the system is set up so that we are stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed, and we cannot make effective change. And again, whether that change is in, your own life, the lives of your friends and family, the lives of your neighbors and community, or a global change, either way, you cannot activate that change if you are burnt out. And hear me on this. This is not judgment or shaming of burnt out, because I have been burnt out numerous number of times. That is why I can speak on that is why I wanted to talk about this, because I know that stress and burnout can get in the way of the things that we want to do, the things that we love to do, and the things that we need to do in the world. So I am just here again as your reminder that if you want to, complete your mission, whatever that is in this world, whether that's just to take care of you, take care of your family, take care of your community, activate global change, rage against the machine, whatever that is for you, if you want to complete those things, being burnt out, being overwhelmed is going to step in the way. So we can absolutely rage against the machine. We can absolutely practice activism and be in the streets, and we can absolutely be passionate and rage. Like, rage is holy. I'm here for the rage. I'm here to support your rage and to remind you that the way you can fuel that rage is taking care of you and managing your stress and paying attention to the signals that are coming for you, that you are stressed and you are overwhelmed. Because if not, then you'll rage and that fire will be burning, but it'll flicker out, right? And again, that's okay. If that happens, that's fine. There's no judgment. But I'm trying to tell you that if you want to find a way to take care of yourself and take care of others with in a way that has longevity, right? In a way that is sustainable, right? The sustainability of it, then stress management matters. Before we close out, I want to share a little bit with you all my personal story and experience with this. Some of you may know I've been in this work, body acceptance, body positivity, body peace, as well as fat activism, fat liberation, size liberation. I've been in this work for over 10 years. So I've been doing this for 10 years, and there have been waves of burnout that I have experienced. Thank you so much, Tara. My most recent form of burnout was in 2021, right? So 2020 was very challenging for people who have Black identity. I mean, it's a lifelong challenge. That's a whole nother conversation. It's complex. But 2020 was a lot for all of us. We had what we had going on. We had the sea happening. We also had a lot of social unrest. We had a lot of political things happening at the same time. And I was raging. I was going full force. There were so many things, managing fat women of color. If you all are familiar with that, that is the community that I created for Black and brown women of size. I had a lot going on over there. I had things going on here as far as a coach and a speaker and a consultant. And I was doing all of the things. And I had to take a moment to do deep rest and to pause some of those things. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned during that time is that the sustainability is important, because the people that we're trying to reach, that we're trying to help, the goals that we want to accomplish, they cannot be done if we burn ourselves out, right? They cannot be accomplished if we allow stress to get so high or so deep or so wide or so overwhelming that it just totally burns us out, right? And then it makes us put it all down and give up. And so this is my reminder to you of your dream, your vision, your goals, whatever it is that's calling to you, whatever it is that's nudging you or pushing you in the world, that the sustainability is dependent on you managing the stress in your life, right? I'm going to look at the comments. Tara says it's hard to fight societal norm that taking care of yourselves or putting yourself first is selfish, especially for women as cultural caregivers. Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing. If you bypass the self-care and try to skip over that to the collective care, your life is going to bring you back to the self-care eventually, right? Because you're going to burn out. You're going to see it in different ways. It's different for everyone. I'm not going to be prescriptive and say everyone's signs are the same, but it's going to bring you back to self-care. And we've all experienced this, right? Whether it is burnout in the form of, injury, pain, illness. I experienced all of those over the past few years from stress and burnout. Injury, pain, illness, mental fatigue, emotional fatigue, spiritual fatigue. So your body, your soul is going to bring you back to the self-care anyway. Even if you bypass that and try to hop on in to only caring for others, only trying to get out in the world and do for others, only trying to be focused on other people, only trying to save the world, don't worry. Life is going to bring you back to the self-care. And I don't want that for you. I don't want burnout, pain, discomfort, sadness. I don't want injury. I don't want those things to have to be the things that bring you back to self-care. That's why I'm here to remind you before you get there, or if you're in the middle of it right now, that healing is possible. Recovery is possible. One breath at a time, we can start doing practices that can help us start to manage the stress. You're never going to get rid of it. That's part of life. But to manage it in a way that can help you survive and then eventually thrive, right? So as I'm closing out, I want you to think about these. I have these closing thoughts, right? You are wise, and I want you to just sit with it, even if it's for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes today, whatever feels appropriate for you. Just sit with the ways in which you've noticed that you are feeling stressed and overwhelmed. You know, I believe in your wisdom. You know, you might have been ignoring it. You might have been too busy, but this is your reminder to sit with it and think about ways in which you have noticed that you've been stressed out and overwhelmed lately. And then I want you to think about whether or not you're ready to just start managing some of that stress, right? Start giving yourself some space to breathe. Start doing some practices and some things that can be healing and nurturing and nourishing for you, so that you can continue to flourish, or you can begin to heal whatever stage you're in. If you are in the middle of burnout, if you are in the middle of overwhelm, you can begin to heal. If you have not gotten there, but you know you are headed there, you can start to take better care of yourself. You can start to nourish your well-being. You can start to honor your body wisdom and the signals that are coming up for you. So that you can have some sustainability and longevity in the goals that you have in life, okay? Thank you all for watching. If you're interested in hearing more about this series, go to the link in my bio. You will see a link that says Peaceful and Powerful. That is the name of this series that I'll be talking about managing stress in your body, in your mind, in your emotions so that you can survive, you can thrive, and you can take care of yourself and others, okay? And also, if you'd like to, please feel free to send me a DM message about how this series has already helped you, how you maybe experience education, healing, or liberation in this container that we had today. All right, much love. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking about managing stress during global trauma. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because whether you are trying to take care of yourself or take care of others, stress can impede your progress. And so this is imperative and important for anyone, no matter where you are in life or what stage of life you are in. Stress is different for everyone. We all have different stressors, and we are managing multiple stressors at the same time, right? It could be things that have been ongoing stresses for you, like chronic illness. It could be it could be body image things. It could be disconnection from your body. It could be financial stress. There is identity stress, right? From living in a marginalized body or having a marginalized identity. And then we have all the things that are happening in the world and in the globe around us that also impact us. So everyone who's watching right now, you, me, we're all managing multiple things that could be different forms of stress in our life at the same time. And so I feel like this is a topic that is important and imperative now, but it's also evergreen, right? Because as long as we are living in these bodies and navigating this world, we're going to be managing some sort of stress.